Trey's Law is a new bill that was passed by the Texas legislature this past September that is a form of protection to sex assault victims that are children or sex trafficking victims. What Trey's Law does is it prohibits for businesses and other entities to use non-disclosure agreements to bar victims from talking about their experiences and their sexual assaults included inside of a civil settlement. Trey Carlock was a victim of sexual assault from the age of 7 to 17 years of age while he was attending a sports camp in the state of Texas. He was sexually assaulted by a person that was later convicted of 3 life sentences because he was in fact a serial sexual predator against multiple children. When this occurred, his family entered an agreement to have a civil settlement with the summer camp that Trey was attending. And because of that agreement, there was an NDA that was included that barred Trey from speaking about his experiences. Trey internalized this NDA to the point where he would not freely talk about what his experience was to his therapist or anybody in confidentiality because he believed that this non-disclosure agreement would hurt his family and hurt himself in the long run legally. Because he internalized these things, he began to reference his settlement money as blood money rather than him being a victim of a crime. Unfortunately, all of these things began to build up and Trey took his life because he could not express his true feelings and to be able to be an advocate for himself and others that were sex assault victims as children. The problem that Trey's Law aims to solve is the silencing of victims and protecting essentially predators in these particular incidences. In this particular case that dealt with Trey, the summer camp actually was able to be protected as well as the leadership instead of just the person that went to prison. Because the leadership was insulated by these NDAs being signed over the years, there were many, many victims that never were able to come forward to be able to tell their story and to be able to advocate for themselves and their victims. And because of this law is taking back the necessity of what an NDA is supposed to do. Usually an NDA is supposed to be able to help cover trade secrets and different business principles. But here, this was a weapon that was used to silence victims to not be able to talk about their experiences and instead shield a sexual predator from being brought to justice. This bill is very important for survivors' rights because it is going to bring awareness. Awareness is a big part of why sex assault victims do not come forward because they do not know the mechanisms in which they're able to speak about their experiences, and they often feel alone. Being shielded and being alone and isolated is what sexual predators use to be able to keep themselves from getting caught. The more children, the more parents, the more people that are scared to come forward, the abuse will continue and be perpetuated throughout society. What this law does is take the victim's power back to not feel guilty about a civil settlement that may have to happen due to the criminal law system aging certain victims out because certain people are not telling people until they become adults or because of different circumstances that may have occurred around these things. Trey's Law is a retroactive bill, which means that agreements that were made prior to September 1st of 2025 can be voided underneath the law and not enforceable. Even though this is a retroactive bill, there are certain aspects that can still be included inside of a settlement agreement with a sex assault or sex trafficking victim. One thing that the law will still cover as being confidential is any payout amounts given to the family. I do believe that Trey's Law will continue to grow and other states will adopt it. As of right now, there have been 2 other states that actually have this bill, which includes Tennessee and Missouri, as well as the state of Texas. The message being sent by the Trey's Law is that victims will always have a voice and that you should not be silenced about telling your story. Only the victim can tell their story to be able to heal and to be able to help others that are in similar circumstances as themselves whenever they were children being taken advantage of. If you have any more questions about this new law or anything else that has come up in the state legislature this particular month, please reach out to us at 817-203-2220.